My name is Dee Jae Pa'este. I'm a Filipino-American, living here in Manila for the past 15 years now and creating and finding my way to freedom through creation, through art, and through advocacy for public art. I've always wanted to share my art since I was a kid. I haven't had any other path other than being an artist. I was lucky enough to be around parents who filled my dreams, helped me achieve them, and really pushed me to do what I love and create from what I love. And this is some of my work here. If you've been around the city, you've been to BGC, you've been around Poblacion, perhaps EDSA, a lot of places, the airport. This is what I do. And my struggle was growing up in a neighborhood and a city in California, in the Bay Area, where I wasn't able to see my culture or see anything that represented me as a Filipino or Polynesian American that connected to me. So my goal was always to find out how to get those walls and create and connect with people and, inspire the next generation. As a youth, you're walking around and you're wondering why there's no representation in the media or in culture or in fashion or in art that reflects, what you're seeing in the mirror. And I feel like it was different because I'm part of the diaspora. In the Philippines, you guys grew up with everyone who's Filipino on the TV, on the ads, but being in America was so different. And that's something that, a lot of us struggle with as being part of, this multi-hyphenated American, Asian, Filipino-American, American Filipino. It was a struggle. And there's a lot of us going through that, and we're looking for identity. We're looking for connection, we're looking for culture, we're looking for our roots. And through art and through finding community, I was able to connect with people that really helped me tap into that. And I'm an artist, I'm a creative, and I'm a lover of so many things, but I'm only as strong as those around me. As an artist, you have people around you that support you, that lift you up, that buy your art, that hire you for gigs, that connect you with people. And if there's no viewers, to enjoy what you're creating, then you kind of lose that sense of self-worth and self-awareness and self-love. So having a community to enjoy your art and connect with it and just see it and it changes them. It's such a different kind of, way to freedom because I felt like I was so constricted growing up by not being able to do what I love and paint what I love, that finally when I got a chance to do graffiti, that was my outlet. I was a rebel, I was painting on things that weren't mine. I was, a troubled youth. I was like 11, 10 years old, didn't know anything about my culture, and, I was out in the streets, and art saved my life. Art showed me a different direction. And through murals and through community and through hip-hop and Filipino culture, I was able to find this. And through my art, I paint culture. I paint dewatas. I paint goddesses. I bring nature back into the city where it's needed. I bring textiles and tattoos. This is actually, if you go back one, this is actually in Buscalan, in Kalinga. So this is something that I don't share very often. I work directly with Grace, who's the grandniece of Wangod, Apa Wangod, if you guys aren't familiar. They have an amazing culture and tattoo, lineage in their village. So I actually got tattooed by her right here in 2017. And we were part of a small group of artists that actually was invited up by the village and Apa Wangod herself. 12 of us, Filipino-Americans, Filipino-Canadians, and local Filipinos. And we were invited to share our art and do an exchange. So we got to paint for them, inspired by their art, and they got to tattoo us and share their art with us. So it was a beautiful experience, and I don't talk about it enough because I feel like this is something very personal to me, and I feel like a lot of artists, a lot of collaborators, or a lot of creatives like to, commodify that connection when they make that journey up there. And as an artist who respects the culture and is trying to revive the tattoo culture, which you can kind of see on my arm, I'm half Polynesian, so I have my, Samoan, Chamorro, Hawaiian roots on this side, and I have my Filipino roots on this side. So everything is all about balance and culture in my art as well, too. You'll see that in a lot of the things that I paint. But being able to come back here and not only connect with someone who's prolonging and keeping a tradition alive, but to work with them and have them respect my art, and for me to learn patterns from them and be able to put them in my art and spread that culture, keep that alive. That's a kind of, as a Filipino-American, there's a sense of enjoyment and connectedness and freedom in that, where I can create freely. That's why with my Freedom Talk, it's about creating freedom and the freedom to create. Because as an artist, a lot of countries, they don't even allow you to show certain things or paint certain things. There's a lot of censorism out there and a lot of censorship in art. And I feel like Philippines, I painted in America, I painted in Japan, I painted, in Hong Kong, I painted in Sweden, all over, but something about the Philippines, there's art in all of us. We appreciate the culture, the connectedness, and there's so many talented artists here, like from singers to dancers to visual to illustrators, and we have so much rich culture that this is what I love to put in my art. You can see from the patterns that there's animals from the Philippine culture, the tattoos, a lot of different things that we tend to forget, and that's one thing I like to share. And when I'm able to create these small ideas in my head and put them on giant walls, it literally transforms whole neighborhoods and whole cities. So I was the first artist, actually, if you guys aren't aware, that started the murals in BGC. I was the first graffiti artist that Ayala's ever worked with, and it was my advocacy because I grew up in California, that murals were everywhere. There was stories told on the walls, but it was all Latino and Black and American and every culture but Filipino. So that was my goal, was to tell our stories, our dewatas, our babaylans, our, what is that, mythology. And that always really, really connected with me and resonated with me. And I feel like it's a sense of, when you paint murals around a city, it's more of like an urban acupuncture, in the way that the body, if you hit the right points, it allows your energy to flow better with acupuncture. In a city, if you hit the right areas and put art in the right places, it connects people together. You become these areas that people start to look at and visit and take pictures of and care about more. I mean, art can transform a whole neighborhood and a whole environment with just one mural, or just one nice building, or just one amazing space. And that's what Poblacion also was a part of too. Like, you see the transformation of the neighborhood here through artists, through creatives. And the idea of being an artist in these kind of communities is you're on the fringe of society, fringe of culture, and you create spaces to be creative in. That's what Asbury is all about too. And being the creative director here, it's another sense of giving people the freedom to create, freedom to share your ideas, even having freedom talks here, just giving them a platform. And that's something that we really need to push each other to be more involved with and support more, is supporting these spaces that hold you up and give you opportunities, give you spaces to share your voice, to share your art, to share your vision, and bring those dreams to life. And I've always been a big supporter of those around me. I mean, community and being a part of that, it's not a spectator sport. You gotta show up. You gotta go to events. You gotta support, you gotta pay. You gotta buy your friends' work, buy their clothing, support their food. And it's a whole culture, and it's a whole little neighborhood vibe, And we all kind of connect together. And I had a big part of me that was lost in the past few years during the pandemic. I feel like a lot of us lost a lot of things, a lot of spaces, a lot of people, and I didn't know where to go anymore. I hit a wall, and I didn't know how to pivot. My life was this neighborhood and showing people around and painting murals outside and connecting with others. And during the pandemic, as artists and creatives, we lost all contact to everyone outside of that. We lost our spaces. We almost lost this place. This was literally 1 month out from signing and opening the Asbury. The pandemic hit. So I was a part of this 4 years ago, and I only came back into it a few months ago because everything stopped. And for the first time in a long time, we were all on the same page. We were all in the same situation. And That doesn't happen a lot in this world and in our lifetime, where we're all going through the same thing and we're all, affected by the same thing that's going on around the world. So people dug inward and they dove inward and they looked to art, they looked to creation, they looked to media, film, like music. And we really saw people come to life. And in the darkest of times, that's when artists and creatives shine the most. Your art comes to life. You find ways to create. And I was in a very, very toxic marriage the past few years that I got out of, luckily, last few years, and I wasn't painting anymore. I wasn't doing anything. So it was a mix of being in a toxic, partnership, being in the pandemic, being out of my element. I was abroad. I was living in Sweden, a place I didn't really know much of, and back in California, and I was away from the Philippines. And I kind of stayed away, and was one of those things that I was so held down to just restarting and resetting that I didn't want to face coming back here. And I didn't know what was waiting for me. Half of Poblacion closed down. We lost all of our spaces. There was no more, I had a space called Kapwa Studio, 2014, 2015 to 2019. And again, pandemic took that too. So we had it was a barbershop and art gallery and pop-up space. It was about transformation and community and the word kapwa. That's very important to me. It's all of us seeing ourselves in each other. And it's a community, it's a way to connect. So everything I do is always community involved. And I feel like graffiti, it's a thing you share outside. It's like prone to the elements. It's prone to other artists. It's prone to aging. And sometimes when you get to, share it in the right way, it lasts. And one thing I always say about societies and cultures is at the end of the time when they're discovered, what's talked about or what's studied is the art on the walls. That's how you discover these lost cultures and these lost civilizations. So I feel like I'm participating in this constant, storyline and this journey of creating, spreading my art, and sharing with people, through walls around the world. And I'm lucky enough to do that. And that's why I want to inspire others. And if you don't have a voice, if you don't have a platform, you got to take them. And sometimes that's the beauty of graffiti art. I mean, there's a lot of, negative connotations with graffiti, but that's the roots of it. It's these people, inner city youth in New York, didn't have a voice. They weren't seen. They didn't have any kind of sense of self-worth. And so they took to the streets to put their names up, to write their neighborhoods, to share their favorite characters. And that's where I found my joy, is mixing my love of pop culture and toys and comic books and all my childhood loves. And I put it into everything I do. And I bring color, I bring light, I bring culture. This is in Siargao. Again, I find places that need a little, protecting. And the art, it kind of serves as a contact point. For me, when I meditate, I chant, I visualize, and contact points in kind of that meditation is not always about, meditation or chanting, but it's also something where if you see enlightened art, you also get connected. So that's my kind of healing towards the cities I love and the places I love, is leaving artwork that kind of protects those spaces, connects you back in, and you answer questions, and you wonder why. Like, what is that, And I even wear my art on me, I'm a walking piece of my art. And when I do clothes or I create jewelry or anything else, people are also walking pieces of art. And that's how we kind of connect, is we share this, and we create together. I mean, the Philippines is full of, what do you see on freeways? Anyone. Billboards, what else? Posters, ads, signs. And where do you spend most of your time in the city? In traffic. So something like this, would that disrupt your day a little bit? I mean, would you rather see something like this than a bunch of skin whitening ads? Like your politicians, getting your getting your vote when they know they already are. I mean, this is what I want to see a city to look like: the color, the culture. And this is a piece that was very important to me. This is my mom and my sister and my niece. So it's, different female, powerful, amazing Filipino in different age levels with textiles from around the Philippines, with tattoo culture, with color. And, this is how our people used to dress, wearing bright colors, woven textiles, sharing culture, sharing space. So, this is the protection. And I feel like through the art, you find a lot of ways to share and you find a lot of ways to connect. And it's one of those things that's all I know how to do. And even events like this, it's a way for us to connect and share our stories and our journeys. And the art on the walls are always gonna tell my story. And they're always gonna share our culture. And as long as I'm around to create and connect, this is what I can do. I can go to any country in the world and we all speak the same visual language. And this is my way to see the world. I only travel, it's kind of crazy when I think about it, I only travel to go and paint. I've seen the world through art, and I've taken care of my art as long as I could, and my art's taking care of me. And it's always that way. I feel like, as artists and as creatives, we have this unspoken ability and, I guess, responsibility to uplift those around us. And as artists, I hope you guys do that and find your art. You don't have to paint, you don't have to create, but just find something that you're passionate about and that you can share with others. And, look where it got me, and it's gonna keep me going. Like, I can reset, I can go anywhere, but my art will always be inside. And it's something I can luckily share on the walls, and I'll continue to do so. So, one thing I can leave you with is, as I travel this world, I'm never finding anything or searching for anything, but I'm constantly creating. Because life is not about finding yourself, it's about creating yourself. And that's one thing that has led me to my freedom to create, and I hope you guys can find yours too. And thank you guys for coming here, and you can find me on Instagram, DeeJae408, or you can find me here at the Asbury. Come connect, come collaborate. This is what we're all about. This space is our love letter to the Philippines. We're here to shift the status quo, to change, to invite, to co-create, to collaborate, and do everything we can. So if you guys kind of connect with this, let me know how you want to connect. Thank you.